about it.
Hey there, fellow Hellblazers and curious souls. Welcome to our deep exploration of John Constantine's enigmatic, occult-laden family tree in the DC universe. Today, we shall unravel hidden connections and secrets and expose the strange dark magic running through the bloodline of the all-too-familiar chain-smoking, trench-coat-clad anti-hero who is perpetually entangled in supernatural mischief. Who are the individuals from his past and who have shaped him into the John we know and love? Which relatives and ancestors have changed the trajectory of the Constantine lineage? Buckle up, folks, because we're in for a wild ride through the Constantine family history. Grab a cup of tea and let's uncover the unnatural lineage that makes John Constantine the magical maverick he is today. Stick around to the end for some jaw-dropping revelations. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Wait.
Johanna Constantine, ancestor. We've got a juicy piece of the Constantine family history for you. So, back in the 18th century, we had this fierce and feisty ancestor of John Constantine, Lady Johanna Constantine. Born sometime around 1760, she was your typical aristocrat turned adventurer until her world got flipped upside down. Now, her parents, Lord and Lady Constantine, got themselves in some serious trouble and ended up hanged for treason. Talk about a rough childhood, right? She ended up losing her title and wealth, but Lady Johanna didn't give up. In 1785, King George himself gave her a shot at redemption. He wanted her to retrieve Pandora's box from Spitsbergen, promising her title and an estate if she succeeded. So, our girl ventured to a spell-reinforced church, cracked open that pesky box, and came face to face with Echidna, a nasty piece of work. But guess what? She outsmarted Echidna and sealed her back into the box, completing the mission. Boom! Her noble title was back in her pocket, and she scored Blackwood Manor, which she decided to rename to Fawny Rig. Now, here's where it gets even more intriguing. She struck a deal with a witch named Mad Hetty to extend her lifespan to a whopping 99 years in exchange for staying out of Hetty's business, and she kept her word. In 1859, at the ripe age of 99, she bid farewell to this world. They even made a fancy grave for her on the mystical island of Orpheus. Talk about a roller coaster life. Harry Constantine, ancestor. We've got another spine-tingling tale from the Constantine family history, and this one straight out of the 17th century. Meet Harry Constantine, a soldier in Oliver Cromwell's army. Now, Harry here got himself quite a rep for being involved in the brutal massacre of Dog Hidda back in 1649. And what was his motivation? You guessed it, he was after some good old cash. But unfortunately for him, a mysterious character known as the Ribbon Queen cursed Harry with eternal life and had him buried alive in a creepy graveyard somewhere south of Liverpool. Fast forward over a few hundred years, and it's the late 20th century. John Constantine, our favorite occult enthusiast, stumbles upon the family secret. He learns about Harry's unfortunate fate and decides to dig him up. And yeah, their first meeting? Not a cozy family reunion, to say the least. John got what he needed from Harry and promptly reburied him. But here's the twist. 2 decades later, a more mature John decides to give old Harry another shot. They give him a grim heart-to-heart about how the Constantines seem to have this knack for getting tangled up with magic and getting their lives ruined by it. Harry's convinced that all they can do is fight against it. In a surprising turn of events, they actually offer forgiveness to each other, and John does his ancestor a favor by giving him the death he's longed for. He ends that eternal life curse with a good old-fashioned beheading. William Constantine, grandfather. Up next, we've got a character named William Constantine, and he's John's granddad, the son of Thomas and a twin to Charles Constantine. Now, William wasn't alone in life. He had a lovely wife named Alice by his side. Similar to the rest of the Constantine family, William grappled with a ton of hardship. He endured intense trials during World War I and managed to make it out of the horrifying Battle of the Somme in one piece, a remarkable achievement given that war's brutality. However, his problems didn't end there. In July 1916, William's luck reached an all-time low when he encountered the King of Vampires himself. The encounter culminated in a tragic outcome for him. The fanged villain won over him, leading to his untimely death. Unfortunately for William, his life was inherently unpredictable. just like the rest of the Constantines, perpetually entwining him in a world filled with darkness and bloodshed. Thomas Constantine, father. Well, folks, let's meet the man behind the legend, Thomas Constantine. Now, Thomas had quite a tough life from the get-go. His dad, Bill, got killed in the horrific World War I, leaving Thomas to grow up with his mom, Alice, and a bunch of siblings in Liverpool, England. Life didn't exactly deal him a good hand. Just like his father, he worked down at the docks, but things went south soon. A nasty industrial accident turned him into a bitter and angry man. He lost an arm and became incapable of taking care of his family. That's when his inner demons came a-knockin', and Thomas turned to alcohol. The bitterness took a darker turn when he forced his wife Maryanne into an abortion during her pregnancy in '53. Tragically, one baby didn't make it, but John, well, he toughed it out and came into this world. Sadly, Maryanne didn't make it through childbirth. From there, things took an even darker twist. Thomas started blaming John for Maryanne's death and resented the poor kid. Fortunately, John's sister Cheryl stepped in to provide some family support. Tom's life then went from bad to worse. He eventually got himself locked up in '61 for some bizarre underwear stealing spree, but the final straw came in 1990 when he crossed paths with the family man in Liverpool. He sent him straight to the afterlife, giving Thomas's soul a one-way ticket to hell. Maryanne Constantine, mother. Let's talk about Maryanne Constantine, John's mom. Regrettably, our knowledge of her is pretty limited. However, what we do know of her is far from ideal. Thomas, her husband, had coerced her into terminating multiple pregnancies, a disheartening fact that highlights just how unhappy their marriage was. The fact that she survived long enough to conceive John and his brothers proves her resilience in navigating such difficult circumstances. The strain imposed by these terminated pregnancies took a toll on her, and her health began to deteriorate. A tragic twist emerged when John was born. Her body was weakened from all the previous abortions, and she didn't make it through childbirth. So she didn't stick around enough for us to learn any more about her. Now, she did have an older daughter, Cheryl Masters, who played a crucial role in raising John. But that's about all we've got on Maryanne, folks, a woman who faced some tough times throughout her tumultuous life. The Golden Boy, twin brother. We're diving into some pretty wild territory here. The story of the Golden Boy, John's mirror twin brother. Now this guy, he's what you'd call the better twin. Born just a few minutes after John, he was the one who died, while John had a rough go of it in the real world. Supposedly, he was destined to be this big-shot magician who'd unite Britain in a magical era. With this glorious golden hair, he's like a healthier, better-looking version of John. The reason? Well, he didn't have to go through all the rough stuff that John did. But hold on to your hats. Even though he was technically dead, it turns out that this guy's spirit had been pulling the strings in John's life, like some kind of cosmic puppeteer. The Golden Boy was having the time of his life in an alternative universe. He was the boy who lived, was raised by a loving dad, got all the love and opportunities he wanted, and became a super powerful magician, also named John, just to keep things confusing. He was a big deal in that world, and things were pretty rosy for him. He even saved a bunch of pals that our John couldn't. Now, these two Johns, they didn't exactly hit it off when they met. But honestly, what a head-spinning story, right? Twins on different paths, alternate universes, and some serious sibling rivalry. Cheryl Constantine Masters, sister. Cheryl, John Constantine's sister, had quite a life story, and it's not your usual family drama. See, Cheryl managed to steer clear of all the supernatural stuff for most of her life. She was like this dependable rock that John could lean on when things got tough. Despite their rough upbringing with their not-so-stellar dad, they were close. Well, as close as they could be, considering John's habit of disappearing. But here's where things take a dark turn. Cheryl's husband, Tony Masters, ended up doing something unimaginable. He was influenced by one of the Johns and the demon Rosicrucis's offspring, and well, he killed Cheryl despite John's desperate attempts to save her. Now, what's pretty remarkable about Cheryl is that she chose to take the heat in hell to protect Tony, who was dealing with immense guilt and grief and later committed suicide. She went through hell, literally, to keep her husband out of it. But John, being the resourceful guy he is, managed to free Cheryl's soul, along with her long-lost son, in the very end. Tony Masters, brother-in-law. Let's talk about Tony, Cheryl's husband and father to Gemma Masters. This guy, he was a devout Christian, but also, well, let's just say he had some issues with John. And honestly, we can't blame him for that. Tony didn't exactly warm up to John. They had some major issues getting along. But here's where things get downright crazy. John's demon son, Saul, gave Tony a one-way ticket to complete psychopathy. The poor guy lost his marbles, and believe it or not, he ended up killing Cheryl. Imagine the horror of that realization. In a wave of remorse and despair, Tony took his own life, which pretty much meant a one-way trip to the fiery depths of hell for him. But Cheryl, in a heartbreaking twist, decided to take his place down there. She swapped her spot in hell for Tony's, just to protect him. That's some intense love, right? Gemma Masters, niece. Gemma, John Constantine's niece, had quite the journey. She was born in 1979, and her life kicked off with some family drama. Cheryl, her mom, had a falling out with her dad, Tony, and whisked her away to London. Gemma was a bright, capable young girl, though maybe a tad bit immature. She absolutely adored her Uncle John and decided to follow in his magical footsteps. While that does sound pretty fun, her over-eagerness to impress Uncle John got her into some sticky situations. After the next few years, Gemma's confidence and powers grew, and she actively participated in assisting her uncle in his various supernatural shenanigans. However, at some point, her life began to spiral. Her heart found love, but tragedy swiftly snatched away her lover and placed both their parents at the mercy of demonic forces, an undeniably devastating blow to her. These experiences profoundly impacted Gemma, and as a result, she chose to push all magical involvement out of her life completely. She distanced herself from John and began attending therapy with the aim of removing all magic from her life forever. Now steering clear of magic, Gemma started to experience uncertainty regarding her new position in the world, but she still attended John's funeral, ultimately being the very last person to bid him farewell. Finnbar Brady, nephew. We're diving into the story of Finn Brady, the long-lost family member in the Constantine clan. Finn's got quite the tale. So Cheryl, Gemma's mom, got pregnant with Finn when she was just a teenager. Her dad, Thomas, forced her to give up the baby in a hospital. Tough, right? Well, this little bundle of joy ended up with a nurse named Eva Brady, who called him Finn. Unlike the rest of the Constantine family, Finn had a pretty normal upbringing in Ireland. He grew up, became a well-known doctor, and even dabbled in philanthropy, a real do-gooder. But he got hitched to a woman named Sia, and they had 3 kids together. Sounds like the perfect life, but hang on. Finn started getting curious about magic at some point, and things turned dark. He got framed as a serial killer, and that's about when he finally crossed paths with his Uncle John, who had promised Cheryl to find him to free her soul from hell. No pressure, right? It turns out Finn's interest in magic wasn't just for kicks. It was messing with his relationship with Sia, which was falling apart. So you've got a family reunion, magic, and a dash of dark intrigue. Just another day in the life of the Constantine clan. The Demon Constantine doppelganger. Here's a wild one from the twisted mind of John Constantine. So he got wind of his prophecy, saying he was headed straight for hell. Not the best news, right? But John, being the crafty guy he is, came up with a plan. He decided to scoop up all the darkest, nastiest bits of his own personality and pack them all into a mud golem. But here's the kicker. He also threw in some of his own demon blood for good measure. And voila, we got ourselves the Demon Constantine. Now, this guy is a real piece of work. His moral compass? Well, it's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. It's all over the place, and you can't really predict what he's gonna do next. John basically created a living, breathing embodiment of his own inner demons. So there you have it. One more example of the twisted and intricate mind games that John Constantine likes to play with himself and, well, pretty much everyone else around him. Hell might be calling, but he's always got a few tricks up his sleeve. Epiphany Constantine, wife. Epiphany was born in '86 to Terry, who was an East End tough guy turned gang boss, and Brenda Greaves. Tragically, Brenda lost her battle with breast cancer in '95. With her mom gone, Epiphany spent most of her days under Terry's thumb. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Epiphany had some serious skills when it came to alchemy. Her dad, Terry, thought her talents could come in handy for his shady business dealings. So off she went to alchemy school. They later moved from London to Essex to set up shop. At the age of 15, she laid eyes on John Constantine, having a chat with her father. John's unique trait of never showing fear around Terry got her all starry-eyed. She developed a massive crush on him. Eventually, John's feelings for Epiphany turned into an actual relationship. But hold on, here comes the drama. A curse made John lose his mind, and he did some pretty messed up stuff. He beat Epiphany pretty severely and messed up her face, then chopped off his own thumb. After a while, they decided to tie the knot, but then Epiphany was suddenly grossed out by John's missing thumb. John, ever the magician, got his thumb back, but he eventually met a grim fate, meeting his end at the hands of one of Terry's gangsters. To her credit, Epiphany took the ultimate revenge by killing the gangster herself. In a wild turn of events, she found new love in the form of John's nephew, Finnbar Brady. Tefé Holland, elemental daughter. Tefé Holland is quite the unique character in the Constantine saga. She's an absolute powerhouse, and here's how her story goes. So Tefé's tale starts with Abby Holland and Swamp Thing, her parents. Swamp Thing did this whole body swapping thing with John Constantine to make her happen. It's a bit of a supernatural baby-making process, you could say. Before Tefé was a person, she was this spirit called the Sprout. Swamp Thing decided to give it a body, and boom, we've got Tefé Holland. Now, Tefé's no regular human. She's got some earth elemental powers, and she can control both planets and flesh. But here's the kicker. Thanks to some of Constantine's demon blood in her veins, she's also part demon. That's one way to spice up the family tree, right? Later on, she took up the role of the elemental of the rot, which gives her power over decay. It's a whole supernatural power upgrade, and now, Tefé's one hell of a force to be reckoned with. So, you see, Tefé's got a story that's as unique and twisted as the rest of the Constantine crew. Powers, demons, and a whole lot of supernatural drama. That's her deal. Adam Constantine, demon son. Meet Adam, one of 3 children born from an unexpected union between John and the demon Rosicarnus. Adam was conceived, born, and raised in a whole separate dimension cooked up by his demon mom. In this alternate world, Rosicarnus took the form of Kit Ryan and played house with John. Here's the thing about Adam, though. The boy had a seriously unhealthy attachment to his mother. I mean, we're talking about psychopathic devotion here. He was capable of some dark stuff, and we mean really dark, like taking out dozens of folks just for fun. At first, he grew up like any normal kid, but the superpowers kicked in around age 5, and boy, it didn't take long for things to get crazy. By the time Adam and Kit teamed up to take him out, John barely saw it coming. They killed him and shipped him off to another bizarre bubble dimension, where another one of John's sons, Saul, was waiting around. Now, Rosicarnus, his demon mom, had it out for John. She sent the kids on a mission to wipe out John's friends as revenge for him killing her demon daddy, Nergal. Not one to back down from a challenge, John went on a trip to hell to rescue his sister's soul, which had been yanked from her body right at the moment of death. And guess what he found down there? Yeah, his own kids. Kit ultimately met a sticky end there at the hands of the first of the fallen. Maryanne Constantine, demon daughter. Maria was the daughter of John Constantine and the demon Rosicarnus. Maria's life starts in a pocket dimension created by her demon mom. In this otherworldly dimension, her mom takes on the form of Angie Spatchcock and even ties the knot with John. They opened a cafe in Liverpool because, well, why not? Now here's the kicker. Although Maria's a demon, or at least half a demon, she looks like a regular 14-year-old blonde girl. But by her mid-teens, Maria goes full-on psychopath. Her moral compass is way off, and she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. John finally realizes the messed up pocket dimension he's in and breaks free, bringing the kids with him. But before she goes along, Maria leaves her mark on John, quite literally, by slashing his cheek and leaving him with a scar for life. After that, under orders from her demon mom, Maria and her brothers go on a killing spree, taking out John's friends and anyone in their way. It's a gruesome mission, and Maria's no stranger to it. But here's the twist. She starts questioning her mom's actions and the fake childhood she lived in. Maria even suggests that they could ditch the whole vengeance thing and try to be a real family. Well, her mom doesn't take too kindly to that. She forces Maria to cut her own lips with a knife, which is just plain brutal. Maria's the only one of John and Rosicarnus' kids who survives the attack of the first of the fallen. Saul Constantine, demon son. It's time to talk about the third and final child of John Constantine and Rosicarnus. Despite being a demon, Saul takes on the form of a young man in his late teens or early 20s. His story starts in a pocket dimension, courtesy of his dear old mom, Rosicarnus. In this alternate world, she's Zed, and she's married to John. They're both paranormal investigators, living the high life in a fancy English countryside mansion, while solving weird mysteries worldwide. Sounds pretty glamorous, right? But here's where things take a sinister turn. Saul, behind closed doors, is up to some seriously twisted stuff. He's secretly experimenting on dryads and Swamp Thing, all in a quest to gain power over the green, the force of all the plant life. Not good at all. When John discovers Saul's dark deeds, he tries to put a stop on them. But guess what? Saul takes it to a whole new level by drowning John in a pond. This little swim sends John spiraling into yet another parallel dimension with a false history. It's like a never-ending loop of supernatural chaos. Saul, along with his siblings Maria and Adam, goes on a killing spree following their mom's orders. It's a brutal mission, taking out John's friends and anyone remotely connected to him. But Saul's not one to hold back. In the end, he meets his grim fate at the hands of the first of the fallen down in hell. Family from alternate universes. All right, folks. Hold on to your magical hats because we're about to take a wild ride through Constantine's family tree, but with a twist. We're diving into alternate universes where things are, well, a bit different. It's like stepping into a whole new dimension of supernatural mayhem. So get ready to explore some twisted family dynamics, powerful kids, and all sorts of otherworldly drama. It's going to be a wild journey through the many faces of the Constantine clan with a supernatural twist at every turn. Stay tuned because this is going to be a ride you won't forget. Zatara II, son. Let's talk about Zatara II, folks. Now, in this alternate universe, he's the son of John Constantine and the one and only Zatanna named after her dear old dad. Yeah, they love to keep those names in the family. So when Superman decided to dust off his cape and bring the Justice League back into action, Batman recruited Zatara to join his crew. They went undercover and infiltrated the Mankind Liberation Front, giving them a taste of their own medicine. Good old superhero shenanigans, right? But here's the fun twist. Zatara II has a thing for pie. To be very honest, who can blame him, right? Pie is pretty amazing. It's like the secret fuel of the superhero. So while he's out there saving the day and battling bad guys, you can bet he's daydreaming about that perfect slice of pie. Rose Constantine, daughter. Meet Rose Constantine, folks. She's the daughter of none other than our good old John Constantine. Now, Rose has got herself quite the supernatural talent. She can bring people back from the great beyond. Yeah, you heard that right. She's got the power to resurrect the long departed. But here's the thing. Her magical powers are still a bit of a mystery. Her abilities are growing, and it's not entirely clear just how far her powers can go and what kind of limits they have. It's like uncharted territory in the world of Constantine. So Rose is like a wild card, and we're all wondering just how far she can take her newfound talents. In a family tree filled with supernatural twists and turns, Rose is definitely one to watch out for. Who knows what she'll bring back from the other side next? Marvelous verdict. Well, folks, we've taken a wild ride through John Constantine's family tree, and what a twisted supernatural journey it's been. From demon offspring to parallel universes, it's clear that the Constantine clan is anything but ordinary. We've met his kids, seen their unique powers, and the dark paths they've trodden. We've seen strange family setups and some seriously messed up dynamics in alternate dimensions. And let's not forget the demons, curses, and supernatural shenanigans that John's family seems to attract like a magnet. So whether it's Maria, Saul, Tefé, or any of the other characters in this bizarre family saga, one thing's for sure. The Constantine family tree is one you won't find in your average genealogy chart. It's a roller coaster of magic, mayhem, and mysteries. Thanks for joining us on this supernatural adventure. And remember, with the Constantines, you never know what demonic entity is waiting around the next corner. Stay tuned for more tales from the occult. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.